All right, that's what I'm talking about. Welcome to another episode of The Folder. Your host, Ruben. Just want to thank everybody for tuning in to listen to this tonight. We got a lot of stuff to talk about tonight. Thank you for all that joined me last time for talking about veteran struggle. Tonight, we're going to be talking about small business glue because we all know that small businesses run the country. So, I find it pretty interesting that a lot of times, that we look at small businesses and we look at these mom and pop shops and stuff like that, like little restaurants, um, arts and crafts stores, just any little thing like that. And, it's pretty neat if you actually go into some of those places because if they've been in business for like, you know, 40, 50 years, they have some pretty cool stuff, as far as like antiques and things like that. And, it's pretty neat how they keep themselves, um, in business, and I'm going to go into some details on, some of the struggles, the obstacles that people have to take. I'm not, like I said, I'm not a professional. I don't know everything. I just get from learning and talking to different people, and I find it very interesting on what they have to say. And they're not going to uh, sugarcoat anything. Just like I won't sugarcoat anything for you. This is going to be real. This is going to be legit. I want you to get something out of it. Of course, like I always say, I want somebody to get something positive out of this and impact somebody's life. I don't care if it's just one person, and that's what I'm doing this for. But I find it very interesting that I was researching, and like 99.9% of the country of the United States of America is run by small businesses, and of course, they consider small businesses any you know establishment that makes under $27 million a year, and they consider that a small business. You agree? You can agree or disagree. I'm kind of like, I don't know, $27 million is a lot of money, to be considered a small business, but that's what it is right now. But when I think of small businesses, I think of I don't think of people, like struggling or just basically, just doing what they need to do, having basically a second job aside from their business. And it's cool if you do, but if you have to like work to support your business, your other business, then there's something wrong, and we have to, you probably have to reevaluate and just kind of step back and reassess everything. And I believe strongly in small businesses, and of course, you guys hear, at the end of my episodes or segments that how I like to, I like to talk about small businesses that are around the local area. And like I said, if you have any kind of business that you want to promote, I am not making not one penny off of this. Like I said at the beginning, I'm here to help in any way I can. Uh, if you want me to mention your place of business or your establishment, man, I'm gonna leave you my email. You can like I hope I did it right, but I got it. I got this podcast on Facebook now, so we'll see how that goes. Because like I said, I'm not real like tech savvy, and I'm not going to go into all this stuff, about like just sit here and just break my head, because I'm not going to do that. But I'll leave email. Of course, I do have the folder profile on Facebook, and you guys can send a message on that. And just like I said, you can ask questions, you can promote businesses and things like that. And and I'm gonna be upfront right now. Like, look, when I promote a business, I don't want nobody to be getting upset that because I promote the same kind of business that you have. Like I said, I'm here to help. If you don't like that, or if it offends you, then just let me know, and I'll take your business off, because I'm not going to have this back and forth like, oh, hey, why are you putting them? Because we're in competition. It's not about competition. It's about helping each other out, and that's my number one thing. Helping everybody out. So if you have a problem with that, well, you can get yourself right out of here and do it somewhere else. Like I said, I don't make a penny from this. I don't ask anybody to help or anything. I'm doing this because I like it. If anything, any kind of uh, monetary things have to come out, I'm gonna do it out of my own pocket, because that's just the way I am. Um, I did ask, when you hear my business plugs, I did ask everybody if it was okay, because I'm just not gonna throw your business out there like, oh, uh, I'm just throwing it out there. And I'm gonna ask you, because maybe you don't want it to be on here. Maybe you're like, I don't know, maybe you just don't want it. But I asked before I do this. And again, like I said, I'm gonna leave my email at the end, and you guys can just email me with your businesses, and I don't care what it is. So, okay, so like I'm gonna start with Tex American, Flooring Corp, because I work for them, and I see the sometimes the daily struggles that goes on with you having a small business. And you have to there's a lot of let's just say there's a lot of competition out there. And I'm not talking about the same guys that are trying to make it like we are and stuff like that. But we get into these competition with these big businesses. And some of you know what I'm talking about, especially like like Tex American, Desert Smoke out there in Abilene, and of course, Barbell County Fitness out there in Temple with Jason. And there's a lot of places there's a lot of places that you can go to do all that stuff. There's a lot of places that sell barbecue. There's a lot of gyms out there. There's a lot of flooring places out there, people that install flooring. And it's it gets kind of bad sometimes. I'm not gonna lie. Everything balances out, thank God. But we get into this thing with these big companies, like I'm saying this in quotation, small businesses, but they're making millions of dollars, and I've seen some of the invoices, and I've seen some of the the way they operate and stuff, like the internal operation portion of things like that. And they're making millions of dollars. And it's hard to keep your business afloat when you have like these big, I'm gonna say big small businesses. How about that? We have these big small businesses. Uh, they're basically, cutting a lot of the labor out for us. I'm just talking about the flooring industry right now. They cut a lot of the labor, so it's like you can go and you can let's just we're just gonna set a scenario in place. So I want to go do, and this is like way off, okay? So we're gonna go do flooring, and let's just say that uh, it's $50 a foot. Okay, I know it's crazy, but let's just say it's $50 a foot. So you go out there, and of course that business, it charges that much money. Of course it charges for the labor. It charges for every single thing, any kind of little supplies that you have. They're going to charge for everything, right? So we go out there and we work. We subcontract out for people, right? So we go out there, and they're if they send like their in-house people, of course, and of course I know everybody has to make money. I'm not arguing that everybody has to make money, but this is the point that I'm saying about labor and things like that. It's like they send in-house people, of course they pay them guys by the hour or whatever. And the business is going to keep that money. It's going to end up spending a little bit because it has to pay the hourly workers to do that. That's fine. But then you get a subcontract that doesn't like work in house for the company, and let's just say, and that's this is hypothetical, okay? So they're getting paid $50 a foot, but then they're going to pay your laborers, your subcontractors. They're going to pay them, half of that, and they're going to make half of that money off of you. And I got a problem with that. And and a lot of times there's people that just settle for that. And I'm not knocking anybody. I'm not being judgmental on anybody, because everybody needs to work, and I'm not saying that. Everybody needs to work, but when you get these people start lowballing, they start lowballing you, and you're up to like a state or national average. And let's just say that I'm gonna be honest, like, so you get a flooring contract, right? So like when we go do a flooring contract, we're gonna do, at least like it's not even national average. We're actually below, way below national average. But when we get something, we eliminate the middle guy, especially if they provide all the materials and stuff like that. They're just paying for the labor, and that's good for us because we get that labor. And if we go subcontract for a company, it's like they give us half of the installation, the labor portion, and I don't think that's right, because if you look at the national average is sometimes it's like 3, 4, $5 more a foot in the flooring industry than what's getting paid here in Texas, in Central Texas, and some of the places around here. And some places they pay a lot more, and they pay almost the national average. But there's some places that, man, I'm gonna tell you what, they're like, you have to do a lot of work. You have to like go out there, and you gotta hustle, and you gotta be tired. And I'm not saying, like I'm not telling you to be lazy, but you gotta go way above what you usually do to make up for that little bit. But some people are good with that. And when some people are good with that, and they don't, stand up for themselves, like, hey, you know what, you're like really low cutting me on this, it becomes a problem for everybody else that has the I'm gonna say the education and the mindset that, like, hey, you know what, I know what my value is. I know what I'm worth. And what you're paying me now, you are not paying me what I'm worth. You're like way lowballing me. And sometimes we get into these things where, some of these people, these businesses around here, they're still paying stuff from like the 90s, labor from the 90s. And I'm like, wow. I'm like, dude, like when I was working with my dad as a helper back in the 90s, and when I see those same prices right now, and I'm doing this, I'm like, well, darn it, you know, the cost of materials have skyrocketed, the cost of supplies have skyrocketed, everything has skyrocketed, and people are charging more money, and they're getting more money, but they're leaving the labor the same way it is. And I don't think that's fair. Like I said, you can argue with me like, oh, if it was your business, you'd understand. Well, if it was my business, I would pay my people right and treat them right. And the treating right is like that's a whole other topic. But I'm just talking about like business standpoints. So you get lowballed all that. So what are you to do? Like, oh, I'm not going to work because you're lowballing. You have to provide. You have to work. You have to do all these things because bills are not going to stop. Bills are not going to be like, oh, well, since you got lowballed, I'm going to give you a discount. It doesn't work like that. It'd be amazing if it did, but it's not going to work like that. And I'm just saying from the flooring aspects of it, and I know my friend Jason out there in Barbell County Fitness, I'm not gonna speculate. I'm not gonna assume anything, but more or less, he's got a lot to deal with on his plate too, because he has all these gyms around that, you know, like you can get, $10 a month. You can get it for this and that. You can get it for $25 a month. You can do this and you can do that, But then he's got his set prices because he brings something else to the table, And when people start going up and they start telling him, oh man, you charge too much, man. I would go to your gym, but you charge too much, so I'm not gonna do it. Why even say anything? Just don't go. It's not like you're gonna get him down because you're not going to the gym. I'm like, dude, I wouldn't lose sleep if you're like, oh, you're gonna charge me too much. I'm not gonna lose sleep over you not wanting to like hire me, and I'm sure he's not gonna lose sleep over like you not wanting to go to the gym, or you trying to negotiate like, well, hey man, well, so and so does it for $10 a month. Why can't you do it for $10 a month? Because I'll go. Like, dude, just don't go. All right, because he brings something else to the table. The way he operates his gym is not the same way that these other gyms, like these chain gyms are gonna do it, because he gets personal, he gets down, and he's giving you something else that these gyms are not giving you. The gyms are just giving you the facility to go and work out. He's giving you something else, and I'm like, he's not charging for, when I plug in, Barbell County Fitness, I plug in because he wants to help people change their lives, spiritually and physically. You know, spiritually, he's not going to charge you nothing. He's not going to charge you nothing because he's showing it as a gratitude of what God has done for him. And that God has blessed him from where he was at to where he is now. It's a blessing, and he's helping people. What I'm talking about is the physical aspect of it. So he's got bills to pay. He's got to provide for his family. He's got to do all these things, and then you have people going in there trying to like, hey, you know what, charge me $10 an hour. I mean, charge me $10 a month, and I'll go in there. Like, dude, go somewhere else. Okay. Don't sit there and just and bother people because of that. Just don't go. He's going to go, one on one. He's going to be personal with you. And if you've ever, if you follow him on Facebook, you can see when he does his videos and stuff like that, and he posts things, he's in there and he's in the mix, making sure everything's good, making sure that everybody's like getting to the point where they are. He's giving them these plans and things like that. And he's giving you more because he knows his value. He knows the worth that he's giving everybody. And it's sad when people start coming in and start like trying to lowball everything. And I have like different relatives, cousins that do a lot of like labor related things, and you get people that try to like like lowball them. Me and one of my brothers, we were talking, and we were like, there's a difference between saving a dollar and being cheap. If you want to be cheap, you better go somewhere else. If you want to save a dollar, you know what, I'm going to help you there. It's not like if I give you a price, and this is for different aspects of work in different work fields. So if you come to me and I give you a price and you're like, oh man, you know what, I can't afford that because I had this in my budget and stuff like that, you know what, I'm going to work with you. I'll work with you, and we can come up with something, because like I said, everybody has to make money. Everybody has to pay their bills and support their kids, support their families, and all that stuff. And sometimes you want to go indulge a little bit, and that's fine. That's fine. But I'll work with you. And I'm sure that all these guys that I mentioned, they'll work with you because they're not gonna be like, oh, you're not gonna do this and that. They're gonna work with you because they want to help you, because because we're happy. Like, Maurice is gonna help you because he's not gonna be like, oh hey dude, can you give it to me for like 5 cents a foot? I'm like, dude, you know what, go somewhere else. You can find somebody else to do it for 5 cents a foot. You have to know your worth, and you have to know your value, because these skill sets don't just come out of the blue. You just don't wake up like you know uh Juan Manuel out there with Desert Smoke Barbecue. He just didn't wake up one day. He's like, oh hey, you know what, I know how to make barbecue, and just wake up and start like burning meat. No, he had to learn how to do it. My friend Patrick out there with the rollaway junk, he just didn't wake up one day like, oh yeah, I'm gonna do this. I'm just gonna go buy a bunch of stuff and just go out there and start driving around. No, he made a plan, and he had all this stuff to do, and he did his homework, he did his research and stuff like that, and now he's got a good successful business. Same thing with Jason. Jason just didn't wake up in the morning like and know everything about working out and stuff like that. No, he had to learn. He had to go to school. He had to get certificates. So there's a lot of value that comes from having this small business. But when people come in and they just start lowballing you, they try to take away that whole thing that you've done. They try to like strip away that value. And we can't do that. And that's what's wrong with some of these big small businesses, that they try to strip that value that you have, you know. And we need to understand that that it's going to be like that sometimes, but it doesn't mean that we have to stay like that. It doesn't mean that we have to like agree or go with everything that they say, because that's not right. Because if you start going in with everybody else that's like settling for nothing, or barely making it, why are you going to get on that bandwagon and settle for nothing and lose that value? It's like, you're going to be throwing your pearls to the swine. It's not going to happen, and you're going to just throw your value away. So you can't do that. So I want everybody to understand that it doesn't matter if it's flooring, if it's a gym, if it's setting up a stand and pulling your trailer with some smokers, if it's like, if it's my friend Patrick, going out there with his trailer and doing things. If you have a haircut place, if you have like a a beauty salon, if you have like, if you're doing arts and crafts, if you have a bakery and things like that, it's gonna be you have to know your value, and you cannot let somebody come in here and just like, mess you around, and like, and say, hey, well, so and so does it for half the price that you do. I'm like, well, go with so and so. But like the saying goes, you get what you pay for, you know. And if you go, and this is what my dad used to say, if you go and they do something with the floor and they mess it up, and then you come back to me and I have to go fix somebody else's mess, it's going to cost you double of what I was going to charge you to begin with, because you replaced that value with cheapness, and I'm not, hey, sometimes it's hard to come by money sometimes, especially these days, because everything's going up. But you have to be careful, too, as a consumer. You have to be careful on, and and do your research and do your homework on, is this going to benefit, how is this going to benefit me, not only in the short term but in the long term as well. And that's when we can start, you can start, and you're like, okay, that's when you start calling, you start uh doing your searches, your internet searches and things like that, or your referrals, word of mouth and things like that. And that's how we get things done, and that's how you get things done. So it's really cool to have a business and things like that. And it's also, it gets difficult, and I'm not saying, because I'm not a business owner, but I do see, my brother, Maurice is my brother, and he has to deal with a lot of stuff that I don't even have to deal with. I do like, I'll go help, do estimates and do installations and stuff like that. But he's the one that's doing all the paperwork. I help him once in a while when he gets like, he gets like, because he's got to do a lot of stuff with his family too. So I don't expect him to do everything by himself. Just like all of you out there. Like the business. If you have a business out there, I don't expect you to do everything. And you shouldn't be doing everything. If you can afford to get somebody to help you out, do it. You know, I think Jason has a few people that help him and things like that. Patrick, he gets his. Sometimes I see him post up and he has his wife out there helping him, and she wants to do that, and that's cool, because you can't take the load on alone. You know, and sometimes it's hard. So if you have help, maximize that help, use it, utilize it, and everything, because in the long run, it's going to help you out too, guys. And so know your value, know your worth. And if you got to go to school for things like for flooring, there's a lot of certificates, things we can do with flooring for Jason. There's a lot of stuff that he can do as far as doing stuff like that. There's like Juan Manuel, he goes to like all these competitions and stuff like that, so he can better what he does. Patrick, he's out there doing his thing, and and everybody's just learning how to just how to operate better, how to make their business better. And like I said, these guys are really good guys, and they are, man, they are like real good dudes, and they will help you any way they can. But remember, they have value, and they know how much it's taken them, how much sacrifice it's taken them to start this business. And it's a small, and these are small businesses, but they're impacting the community in a positive way because where do we get materials? A lot of us, like, we go, we have to go to these big chain places. Like, we go, like, I go to some of these these hardware stores, and we go every day sometimes, and we drop a lot of money. Our customers drop a lot of money on these things, and we give back to the community. And I don't know how they do it, how, if they put back. I mean, I'm not sure. I'm not going to get into all that, but I know we give back to the community just like everybody else. You know, we want to help the community. We go, we shop local. We try to buy local. We try to do all these things, and stay away from the multi-billion-dollar companies, because that's not benefiting us, and it's not benefiting our community. Yeah, people are getting stuff built and things like that, but when when you're giving it and it's going somewhere else, it's not helping your community. So remember, there's a balance between small business owners and consumers, and vice versa. Everybody has a value. Everybody needs to know their value and things like that. So with that, I know I didn't cover a lot of things. I just wanted to come on here and just kind of mention that a little bit. But if you have any questions, please contact me on thefolder.podcast76@gmail.com. Okay. Again, that's thefolder.podcast76@gmail.com. And if you have businesses you want me to push on here, I will plug them in here, and I will do whatever I can to help anybody out there, because that's just the way I am. So without further ado, here's your business plugs for today's episode. So first of all, we have Texas American Flooring Co. by Maurice Hernandez. Does carpet, vinyl plank, ceramic, backsplashes. He does it all. Just give him a call at 254-226-1695, and he will hook you up. He'll go out there and give you estimates, and and he's not going to be like hiding things. He's going to tell you up front, this is how much it's going to be. This is what I can do for you. And then if you need something, he'll work with you. Okay. So give him a call. Roll Away Junk with Patrick, 254-500-8600. And if you have any kind of stuff that you need, if you bought a house, or if you're an investor, or if you're a realtor, or anything like that, if you remodeled your house and you just got this pile of just stuff that you keep coming out and you don't know what to do, give him a call. Give Patrick a call at Roll Away Junk, and he will come and he will take all that stuff. He'll take it to the dump. You won't have to lift a finger. Just give him a call. Again, that's at 254-500-8600. You can go Desert Smoke Barbecue out there in Abilene, Texas, if you're ever out there with Juan Manuel Perez. You can give him a call at 325-333-3272, or you can email him at Melman, MELMAN 63002 at Gmail for some catering needs. Go out there. If you're out there, just give him a call, and I'm sure he'll hook you up, man, because, man, he's got some great food out there. This guy can cook, I tell you that. If you're out here in Temple, Texas, and you want to get fit, give my friend Jason a call at Barbell County Fitness at 254-217-1304. Telling you, this guy, he's got his own line of products and stuff like that. And I'll be shooting you the link. I'm gonna get it. He's got his own products, his own supplements, and everything like that. And give him a call. He'll give it a plan for you to workout plan. But the most important thing is he's going to give you a plan to help your spirit. He's going to give you a plan of salvation and how to get closer to God. And that's the best right there. So give him a call. Follow him on Facebook. Follow Barbell County Fitness. And I want to introduce a new business. It's called RPG Outdoors with Robert and Angela Garcia. Man, they make all kinds of like artificial baits, and oh my god, it's awesome. It's awesome the way they do that. I didn't know how they do that. I went over there one time and they were doing it. Oh man, let me tell you, it's pretty neat, and you're gonna catch you some fish. And another thing I like about them is they do a lot of stuff with veterans. You know, they're out there participating in, taking veterans out there to fish and things like that. They're doing, they do fishing tournaments for, if something's wrong, if somebody needs something, let them know. Follow them on Facebook, RPG Outdoors. And, if you have any questions, you can go ahead and let them know. And it's going to be pretty awesome. So if anybody's got anything else, follow me on Facebook on the folder. And, if you guys got any kind of businesses you want plugged or anything, just let me know. And I sure will put them on here. Thank you for listening tonight. Stay 80s and God bless.